welcome back to Cinderella Phenomenon Evermore. So we've completed Rod's route, now we're going to Karma's route. Let's go. Chop chop. Now we're going for Claude. Karma. I like the name Karma, to be honest. But Claude is fine too. The Chameleon Prince. Ah yeah. Mm. Ho ho ho. If I were you, I would give up now, Princess Lucette. You ought to just surrender, darling. What kind of villain says darling? Lucette, this is where you play along. I take a deep breath, then force myself to glare at him. I will never succumb to you. I parry Claude's sword moment after he lands a blow on the edge of my blade. The momentary surprise fades into concentration as he rushes again, our swords raised high. This time I am unable to parry, and when our swords connect, it is all I can do to keep my stance. Claude's face is inches away from mine. A cocky smile lights his face, but his calm is unwavering. Use any means necessary to best me. I dare you. At this proximity, I can see the flecks of color in Claude's eyes. The flicker of golden light on gentle green. His eyes will always remind me of this forest. I steal my eyes away from him and glimpse the rest of his body to search for an opening. How should I attack him? Well, he did say any way you can, right? Wait, let me check logs. Use any means necessary to best me. Okay. I do have one easy way of gaining an upper hand. Maybe I will not win, but I smile at him. You've forgotten one very important thing, Claude. Oh? I'm a witch, and you're not. You wouldn't. Claude's sword slides past mine with enough force to make my blade loose in my hand, but my grip no longer matters. My taunt has temporarily caught Claude off guard, giving me enough time to concentrate on my magic. Ice begins to gather on my fingertips. Claude rushes me again with his sword. Just as I hold up my hand to cast a spell, I aim ice at his feet. When the whiteness clears, my ice has accumulated at the ground, turning the vibrant green blades of grass into fragments of powdered white. But Claude is nowhere to be seen. What? I feel the cold tap of a blade against my shoulder. Before I can turn in place, I feel an arm around my waist and lips close to my neck. I can feel Claude's breath on my skin when he laughs. Cheaters never prosper, darling. Well, you said any means necessary. Any means, so... I don't see how my logic was wrong there, or I don't see how that was cheating. Exactly, princess. You told me to best you in whatever way I could. Claude responds by moving his lips down to the nape of my neck and planting a soft kiss there. I stumble away, my fingers tight on the grip of the sword. Claude raises an eyebrow at me and grins. Perhaps if you haven't warned me about your magic in advance, you might have won. Though, even if you had won, it wouldn't have been a fair victory. I hold out my sword once again, but too late. Claude has already closed on my ear again, his blade at my neck. He knows me too well. The moment I become flustered, I lose all my concentration. He grins at me, triumphant. Really though, you should have admitted defeat much earlier. He moves the edge of my blade away from my neck and leans forward to brush his lips against my ear. The rest of his words come in a whisper. There's no besting me, love. I can predict your every movement. I sigh. I know when I'm beaten, and to fight anymore would be futile. I pull my arm away from Claude with a groan. I almost had you. Almost, but not quite. I groan at Claude's response. He always manages to say such things nonchalantly, without even batting an eyelash. I have just readied my retort when something breaks the silence of the forest around us. I hope we're not interrupting anything. I whirl in place to stare in the direction of the new voice. I'm surprised to see Garland and Durin standing a short distance away, beneath a copse of trees. How long have you two been standing there? Long enough to see the thrilling end of that match. You almost had him that time, Princess. Garland looks at Claude and shakes her head. Shakes her head? Wait. Garland looks at Claude and shakes her head. Typo, must be. A victory this close to the princess's birthday would have been a good gift. I would refuse such a victory. What is the point if I do not earn it myself? Claude grins, spoken with all the pride of a knight. You see, Garland, she would never accept such a thing. I know Lucette like the back of my hand. I would hope you know your fiancé like the back of your hand. I cannot help that my cheeks warm at Durin's words. Even though I have been Claude's fiancé for the last few months, most people do not bring out our engagement so casually. Claude sidles closer to me and wraps an arm around my waist. You really are so adorable when you're embarrassed. If you even begin to tease me, my sword will find your hand. Your threats are as sweet as your compliments. He smiles at me mischievously before stepping away and glancing at Julian and Garland. I hope the two of you didn't come for a personal lesson. You know that I have an important matter to attend to, no? I stifle a sigh. I know just as well as Julian and Garland that Claude has something he needs to pick up in town today. Most likely it is another gift for me. Claude plans to give me a birthday gift every day of the week leading up to my birthday. He did the same thing last year and the year before that, but this year his first birthday gift was rather extravagant. I cannot believe that the bouquet of lilies he bought me yesterday had to be delivered on a cart. I wonder what kind of gift he plans on bringing by today. 6 days remain until my birthday, which means that the gifts will become more extravagant from here on out. It is usually the gift he gives me on my birthday date that is most heartfelt and special, but I cannot help but look forward to his smaller surprises regardless. His efforts are always showy, and it makes them feel like Claude. Besides, he always puts so much thought into the gifts, extravagant or not. I turn back to the conversation at hand. The two knights are still discussing some sort of training regimen. The exchange goes on for another few minutes before Claude turns to me and smiles. By your leave, darling, I shall rush off to town and pick up your gift. I promise that you'll absolutely love this one. Hopefully, it does not need to be delivered on a cart. Or involve some foreign choir. Or a cake so large it takes 4 people to carry up the stairs. You two are just jealous you didn't get to deliver those items yourself last year. That cake was made by the best baker in the whole kingdom, and that choir... I cannot help the laughter that escapes my lips. Claude abruptly stops talking to plant a kiss on my head. Oh my goodness. He gazes at me with a fond smile before shaking his head. Enough dawdling. I have to go now if I want to make it in time for our designated meeting. I promise I won't be late, Lucette. He grasps my hand briefly before rushing off. I notice that in his hurry he has forgotten to sheath his sword. Claude, your sword! He lets out a soundless sigh as he sheathes the sword and rushes off, leaving me alone with the two knights. Looks like someone's got their head in the clouds. Doesn't he always when he's around the princess? The two glance at each other, some silent amusement flickering between them. Did you come out here just to spy on us? Of course not, your highness. We were on our way out of the palace when the Princess Emmeline stopped us and asked us to deliver a message. A message? The princess requires our assistance. With what? She didn't provide any details, unfortunately. If she didn't explain what it was for, then it is highly likely that this is about to be a surprise celebration she wants to throw me. But is it still a surprise if I know what's happening? That is happening? Garland and Durian glance at each other for a few moments, some hidden message conveyed in their gazes. Garland claps a hand on Durian's shoulder with a smile. I'll escort the princess back. I'll meet up with you before the hour is up. Durian puts her hand over his, but only briefly before she nods at him. Don't be too late, otherwise I'll start eating without you. Garland slides his hand off of her shoulder as she turns to walk away from us. Once she is out of sight, the two of us begin our walk back towards the palace. Garland stops when we arrive at the gates. He turns to me with a bright smile. Here we are, princess. Oh. He looks at me quizzically. I just noticed. You didn't have a knight escort with you today. A few weeks ago, I was able to convince Father that we no longer needed an escort in the forest. I feel it is better that way. It feels more special when it's just Klaude and I there. Besides, I'm the tenem bearer and Klaude is a talented swordsman. We have nothing to fear when we are together. No, the king should be able to fill you on that situation. Garland looks at me thoughtful when he nods. Princess Emmeline should be in the dining hall. Is there anything else you require? Nothing that I can think of. You're free to go back to your date. Garland flushes crimson red that makes me laugh. Despite how discreet he and Durian can try to be, it is very easy to see that the two of them are courting each other. It has been that way for the last 2 years. I narrow my eyes at him. How goes the matter Klaude and I discussed with you? Have you spoken to Durian yet? No, not yet. Garland shakes his head, eyebrows furrowed. The timing doesn't feel right. The timing doesn't feel right. I'll propose to her after your birthday party. Or your wedding. But right now, we need to focus on security for both of those celebrations. You two are hardworking to a fault, you know. It's an occupational hazard, I'm afraid. I shake my head with a sigh. That dedication is what makes Garland and Durian two of the most competent knights we have in Ansley. After I excuse him, he bows and then turns to walk away. I'm about to walk in through the front gates when he suddenly calls my name. Oh, Princess Lucette, did Prince Klaude say anything about when his brother is scheduled to arrive? Oh, right. I had nearly forgotten Claude's brother Lance is supposed to arrive in a week before our wedding. Klaude insisted that he come as late as possible. He should be here in the beginning of next month. Garland looks at me for a few moments, a troubled expression on his face. Is something wrong, Garland? It's nothing. Garland smiles before turning and walking away. I watch his back, contemplating calling him back. Instead, I find my thoughts turning to the last time I mentioned Lance. You've been sulking all day. Is something wrong? I sit beside Klaude on the bed, my hand resting on his knee. He stares out the window, his gaze glassy. You would laugh. I would laugh at you anyways. Claude's lips quirk slightly before he angles his head towards me with a sigh. If you must know, it's my brother. Lance? Yes, Llama. I raise an eyebrow sharply. What about him? Did he write something strange in his last letter? Not so much strange as annoying. He proposed visiting Ansley 1 week before our wedding for our preliminary celebration. I fail to see the problem. The problem is that it's Llama. He attracts unwanted attention wherever he goes. You've met him before. You understand what I mean. The last time I spoke with Lance was nearly a year ago. He and his mother came to visit Claude and Ansley and brought everyone in a palace a terrifying amount of gifts. He was a lot like you. I'm offended, darling. We are nothing alike. I'm radiant like the sun, and Llama is... I'm radiant like the sun, and Llama is a magnet. He has a way of stealing the spotlight. Always. You're worried he'll steal the spotlight from you? Claude looks at me disgruntled. I'm right, aren't I? Not at all. I'm worried he'll steal the spotlight from you. I slide closer to him. Claude, I will be fine. I do not crave attention like you do. Crave attention? Me? Yes, you. Do not deny it. But you... I put a finger to his lips. You already give me enough attention as it is. And that's all I really need. Claude pulls my hand away from his mouth and gently kisses my palm. He smiles, a little sheepishly. If you insist, then I'll write back to my brother and tell him he can come early. I just hope you won't regret this decision. Lance has been very popular in Ansley ever since he first visited with his mother, but no matter his magnetism, he certainly won't distract the townspeople from a royal wedding. I'm sure that Claude must have something planned for the week before the wedding and thus does not want Lance taking anyone's attention away from it. It will be fine. I shake my head to clear my thoughts before turning to head back into the palace. The hallways are bustling with activity when I enter. Many of the gathered servants and maids stop chattering as I approach. At ease. Aren't you all supposed to be on break? Ah, princess. We were just enjoying our break outside. I glance around at the gathered staff. I am certain that these people do not usually take their breaks together, even if they do happen to share the same off times. I see. Have any of you seen Emily? The princess is in the dining halls with the royal chef, princess. I thank the maids with a little bob of my head before making my way to the dining hall. The dining hall is just as lively as the hallway, if not even more. Appetizing scents waft through the air, mingling to create an overly piquant aroma. I spot Emmeline amidst the crowds, testing colored liquids in the different chalices. She raises a chalice to her lips. Just as I arrive before hurriedly placing it back on the table. Oh, Lucette! You look guilty of something. Not at all. I glance around at different chalices. Emmeline's shoulder drooped with defeat. I was trying different cocktail concoctions for your birthday dinner. It was Claude's idea that we mix something completely original for you. I was debating what kind of cocktail to make for you. Strawberries and bananas? Something with cucumbers and lime? I feel terrible because I don't know what your favorite flavors are. That can't be helped. I don't think I've ever spoken about my preference with you. Still, I must make certain that this drink is perfect. She gestures to the various chalices, then points to one at the far end. It is filled with white blue juice and has a familiar creature sitting on top of the glass as a decoration. A chameleon. Hmm. Well, if this was Claude's idea, then I'm not surprised he used a chameleon to decorate the chalices. Years ago, when I first met him, Claude enlightened me with a story of his childhood. Apparently, he has a special attachment to chameleons. Sometimes, when the two of us are practicing together, he even refers to himself as the chameleon prince. He says that he did it so that we could have matching titles, but the chameleon prince and ice princess do not match at all. I stare at the chameleon topper. And is this birthday celebration really for me, or is it for him? I've actually been trying to come up with a name for it, but I haven't thought of anything yet, so I thought it might be nice for you to choose it. It will be distributed in the marketplace after we unveil it at your birthday, after all. What? Claude insisted that the populace have some way to celebrate with you. Since we're gonna distribute your name, I thought I'd ask you what you wanted me to call the drink. Name for the drink? Since it has a chameleon on it, maybe the chameleon? Maybe. Yeah, let's go with it. Even if it is very dramatic, this was still thoughtful of Claude. Since he's been working so hard for this celebration, he ought to be celebrated a little too. And since it is no secret he adores chameleons. The chameleon? Emmeline looked skeptically at the drink, then burst out laughing. I guess that makes sense with the little chameleon on the glass, but wouldn't that make the drink more Claude's special cocktail? I see no problem with celebrating him. We can play a little trick on him during the unveiling. He'll never see it coming. Emmeline puts her hand on her cheek and grins. I'm sure he'll love it, Lucette. And what sort of mixture do you want for the drink? I'm not picky. Feel free to choose what you will. Really? Are you sure? Emmeline looks at me uncertainly. Are you still trying drinks, Em? Is that Rod? Baby boy is here. The familiar voice makes us both whirl in place. Rod stands behind us, lips quirked in a small smile. I step back without realizing. I am still unused to Rod's changed type, especially with his quiet demeanor. It feels almost like a contradiction. He scowls at me. Is there something on my face? You cast a shadow. You're terrible. Emmeline just giggles. Then he claps a hand on my shoulder. Anyway, thanks for the help, Lucette. I actually had a few more questions to ask you. Why didn't you figure out this drink before the end of the hour? Rod, you should help me. You want me to help you taste drinks? We can both be royal test drinkers. I don't think nobles test drinks for other nobles. The two of them continued their back and forth banter, and for a few moments I watched them with amusement. I've tried my best to mend my relationship with Emmeline and Rod over the years, and even though the bond we share are not as strong as the bond they have with each other, our relationship is no longer strained. I think I'll have you to your test tasting. I have to meet Claude soon. He insisted on meeting me in my room before he has to run off to a lesson with his history tutor. He's picked up ancillary history fairly quickly, especially since he started recently. And since I convinced him to stop hiding from the tutor, Emmeline is staring at the chalice with the chameleon topper thoughtfully. I wonder what sort of gift he'll bring you today. Hopefully it's not a choir, or some gigantic cake with enchanted candles. Why is everyone bringing up the choir and the gigantic cake? Is it a running joke? There is no way to know with Claude. The surprise is part of the gift. Well, do let us know what it is once you get through the wrapping paper. If it is small enough to fit in the wrapping paper, that is. I nod my head with a smile. The three of us trade quick farewells before I walk out of the crowded dining hall and back into the corridor. Corn dog? I have barely managed a few steps in the corridor before someone collides with me. The impact pushes me to the ground. I'm so sorry. The man holds out his hand to me. My humblest and most sincere apologies, Princess Doucette. Allow me to help you to your feet. I glance at the man and frown. I'm about to respond to his apology when I pause, noting his gentle features. It is impossible not to recognize him. This is... Oh, Lance. Lance? I stare at him in shock. The light of the sun is angled on his features, making everything on his face gently glow. My earlier agitation disappears completely when I behold his smile. Nice to see you again too, Princess Lucette. And once again, I am so sorry. I continue to stare at him, eyes wide, its apology barely registering in my mind. You're not supposed to be here for another month. That I am not, yet here I stand. He continues to smile at me jovially. There is an explanation for this, I promise. He gestures again with his hand, a clear insistence that I take it. Obviously take his hand. It's rude not to. Don't be rude. His smile lengthens into something even more dazzling as he grips my hand and pulls me to my feet. I've done a terrible thing, knocking over a beautiful lady. Is there anything I can do to apologize to you? You can let go of her hand. Claude appears suddenly behind Lance, his expression mired with a scowl. Lance releases my hand immediately. I knocked her down, so I... Yes, I know, the usual story. This is what happens when one is clumsy. Lance smiles, a little sheepishly, before he turns his full attention on Claude. Well, that was a little awkward, but... His smile widens into something somehow both shining and gentle. Nice to see you too, Karma. Llama. The few people in the hallway, including a few servants, pause briefly to glance at Lance as they pass. They smile when Lance makes eye contact with them. Last time Lance was here, he had a similar effect. He has a way of sparkling. Claude does it too, but on purpose. I did not think it was possible before, but I'm fairly certain Lance sparkles without meaning to. Lance smiles fades slowly. I apologize for not writing in advance of my arrival. Father insisted I come early to surprise you. By showing up an entire month early? Yes, exactly. Last time I visited with Mother, we ruined everyone's schedules. Father figured that if no one had any time to plan, I wouldn't be imposing as much. That is not very sound logic. I've never met Claude and Lance's father, but sometimes I cannot help but wonder what sort of king he is outside of stories I hear. No, it's not sound logic, but it's something Father would do. He likes surprising people. The two men look at each other for a few moments. Lance looks noticeably uncomfortable with Claude scowling at him. The silence is stifling. I clear my throat. It is good to have you here, Lance. Does my family know you're here? Oh, I already met with the King Janara and Queen Ophelia earlier. I was on the way to visit Princess Emily and Prince Rod when I bumped into you in the hallway. Oh, and I happened upon Commander Garland earlier. I was watching one of his practices. Perhaps Garland and Lance met earlier, and that is why he mentioned his name. Do you want to keep all this a surprise? Lance smiles again. I heard it was your birthday in 6 months. 6 months. heard that your birthday is in 6 days, Princess Lucette. It will be an honor to attend the celebration. And it will be an honor to have you here, there, Lance. Claude still looks agitated by the conversation. Claude is always unreasonably moody when his brother visits. He tells me that it is sibling rivalry, but sometimes I feel it runs deeper than that. I'd hoped to catch up with you too, but I don't want to interrupt any of your plans. Claude sighs beside me. He seems to deflate a little, but some of the earlier tension I sensed within him fades away. He smiles at Lance. The sight puts me at ease. As much as I want to catch up now, I have an engagement. Two, in fact. I steal a quick glance at Claude's hand and realize but belatedly that he holds a colorful box in them. Is that a birthday gift he mentioned earlier? It is surprisingly small. I figured as much. It is what happens when one shows up unexpectedly at another person's doorstep. In any case, I'll make myself scarce of the hour. If you have some time to spare after your engagement, I'll be in the dining hall. I hear some sort of celebration planning is taking place. He gives a slight but elegant bow before walking past us, still smiling his gentle smile. It begins. What? The llama takeover. Aren't you being a bit dramatic? He is your brother. I'm dramatic because he is my brother and I know him. Claude sighs. I have to rearrange the schedule now to make sure he doesn't accidentally change any of my plans. Plans? Claude shakes his head slightly before smiling at me mischievously. Plans? What are you talking about, Lucette? I nudged at his shoulder, but he just laughed at me before setting his arms on my shoulder with a smile. Shall we? The two of us make our way down the corridor to my room. Thankfully, there are no further incidents in the hallway. By the time we get back to my room, Claude is noticeably more at ease. I take a seat on my bed as he shuts the door behind him. The day's climax is lost upon us. There's no choir involved in this, is there? Last year, I sat down on my bed and the choir started singing a birthday song in the garden outside my window. No choir. This is much better. He sits down beside me and hands me the box. His eyes are glimmering with excitement. Claude's excitement is just as much as a part of the gift as the gift itself. He always looks so happy when he gives me something. And his happiness is contagious. Are you going to continue to make me wait in suspense? I thought this was my gift, not yours. Don't be like that, love. You know how much I enjoy seeing your eyes light up when you open a gift. I glanced down at the little box that is now in my lap. It is wrapped in a vibrant red, gold, and green. Oh, Christmas. It's a Christmas gift. Must be. Is your birthday close to Christmas or something? Why is he wrapping in those colors? Or maybe Christmas is not a thing in Angeli or in this world. A small card on the top reads, "To my betrothed on her special birthday week. You are my compass even in darkest times." I flushed a little as I plucked off the card off and set it aside. Betrothed? It is still so strange to think that we are engaged. Everything feels as it always has. It feels natural. I eyed the ring on my finger as I carefully unfold the wrapping paper. You could just stare at the paper, you know. I enjoy making you wait in suspense. You don't like to tease me, don't you? I laugh as I pull out the wrapping paper and then slowly open the box that Claude has brought for me. Aww, that's cute. A plush. of the Princess and the Beast and Claude. Wait, you said something. I just skipped it over. This. I take the first flash out of the box and stare at it. It is fuzzy, almost completely black with red eyes, and yet somehow it is cute. And the other plush. I take it out and gaze at its dress and face. It has a lily necklace hanging from its neck, and glass slippers on its feet. I can immediately tell from the hair who it meant to be. It was meant to be. It is me, and I stare at the black beast plush and I startled. You? Claude laughs, looking pleased with himself. But why would he make himself out to be the beast? You look confused, but certainly you must realize this gift is based off the Beauty and the Beast. Right, it's the Beauty and the Beast, not the Princess and the Beast. What am I talking about? Me and my I don't know my fairy tales apparently. But you... Look, I even gave myself a crown. I furrow my eyebrows at him. You don't really think that you're a beast? Claude's lips curve into a gentle smile. In the past, yes, but for now, the beast is just a plush. Don't you think it's cute? I glance out at the beast plush again, my fingers on the crown. The past, I lean against Claude's shoulders and hold up two plush toys that I can see them side by side. They are adorable, Claude. I love them. I wrap my arms around his waist and settle my head on his shoulders. Thank you. Better than a choir or a large cake? I debated combining the two this year, you know. I suppose if I had to choose... No, wait, don't tell me. You might just break my heart. I grin at him as he wraps an arm around my waist and plants a kiss on top of my head. I love everything you get for me, no matter how small or grand. I eye the rose locket hanging around his neck and smile. Claude notices me looking at it and puts a hand to it. More than 2 years ago, he had a rose tattoo by his heart, and now he calls his rose locket his heart. I would get you the whole world if I could, but for now, I hope you don't mind settling for these smaller gifts. I'd never be able to fit the whole world in my room, but I can fit you here at least, and that's probably the most important thing. Probably? Lucette, I am offended. I laugh as he leans down to plant a kiss on my smile. You really won't let me skip out my lessons today. I could think of much better things to do with this time. He raises an eyebrow at me, but I just slide away from him. A prince of Anzali needs to know his kingdom, doesn't he? Claude stares at me after that, his expression growing surprisingly somber. For a few moments, I see a glint of melancholy in his eyes. Then he stands up abruptly and fixes a smile to his face. Of course, and then there's also my kid brother to attend to. I will go speak with Lance, so do not worry about him. Once again, Claude's expression is sullen, but the look is only temporary. He leans down to take my hand and then plants a soft kiss at its back. In that case, I will see you later, my love. He smiles at me one last time before heading out the door. I fall back on my bed, holding the two plushes to my chest. I hold out the beast and plush and sigh. That uneasiness I felt just now is just my imagination, right? The beast plush does not answer me. I set the Beauty and the Beast plush toys down beside each other on my bed. A few moments I look at them thoughtfully. Eventually, I move to exit the room and turn my thoughts to brighter things. Karma and Llama, Chapter 2. Okay, I think that's gonna wrap up today's episode. So, Odd give us plush toys. That's nice. That's cute. But why the beast? Does he still think he's the beast? in all this? Is that the problem we're gonna face this time? Who knows? I don't know. I surely don't know. Because I walk in this kind of things blind. Okay, that's all. If you like, dislike if you dislike. Subscribe for more content like this. I do a lot of visual novels, so you can look forward to that. Comment down below what you think of this video and suggest some things for me to play. I think that's all. Thank you for watching and have a good day.